Welcome to Rooted. Is that like the Disney hymn?
Nah, SpongeBob does the imagination.
I don't remember that.
Oh.
Sorry. Oh, the rainbow.
Mm-hmm. So you do remember.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
You broke it.
I broke it. Okay. What do you want to talk about today?
I don't know. A lot of stuff on my mind. Our marriage was on my mind a lot today.
Am I in trouble?
No. I wrote the blog today.
I was kidding. That was
actually
scary.
about how you're not in trouble.
That was scary, actually, when I logged in to read that, because you were like, hey, I wrote something, you should check it out. And I was like, all right, yeah, I always do. And I was like super in a vulnerable position. Like I was in the bathroom and I'm like all alone and I go to read it and I see my name and I was like, oh no, what did I do? It was really sweet though. And it's
Which bathroom are you in? The second floor?
Ours.
The one that I mentioned in the blog?
I looked out the window and I was like, it's still there too.
Yeah.
That's on the list. But no, one thing that's changed a lot, and I don't know exactly what caused the paradigm shift, if you will. And maybe it's a lot of different things, but I think when I first got around the motorcycle club, that was, I don't know, almost 3 years ago. I think 3 years in June.
Yeah.
Anytime I wanted to go somewhere, I felt like I was pulling teeth. And it's not like a testament to like how you were with me, but I feel like at that time in my life, I found the club in June and I'd been saved since October.
Yeah.
I didn't yet know what life even looks like as a leader of the home. And I kind of hate, I hate that.
You were the leader of the home.
Right, but like spiritual, like the right way. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Is like,
yeah.
People have this, it's both ways. Some people have this like misconception that like they come to God and they're like, everyone do everything I say. I'm the man. You know? And there's like the like more toxic side of it. And then there's like a too gentle side of it. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. Right. And so I think that leads to a lot of things feeling unresolved or untaken care of. And then when I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to go out of town for a week. Y'all good? I think it leaves a lot of room for like, bro, you've been here for 6 months and a whole lot ain't good. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know. So maybe part of the shift is like I'm pulling my weight spiritually a little different than I did then. But this run, there's runs all the time. There's only a couple runs out of the year that I actually like really want to go to. This run I brought up like Christmas timing, like, hey, this would be really cool if this works. And if it doesn't, okay. I think that's maybe another shift as well. As I'm not like climbing up your leg, like I want to go no matter what, like I used to be. I'm kind of like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, like anything else in life. But this run, it got like a week out from happening, and I hadn't said anything in weeks. Yeah. And you were like, I heard they're closing registration for that. Are you going or not? And I was like, what?
Well, I mean, it was kind of twofold because obviously one of the wives messaged me and I knew that they were trying to give you something at the run. So I did want to be considerate of that because there's many times I've been the wife messaging some other wife like, yo, you can get out there, you can like not care as much that they're leaving. That would be super cool. But you had mentioned that you wanted to go, and I think the lack of feeling in a pinch about going a literal 24-hour trip away from the home.
It's 27 the way down. Yeah.
Well, didn't you guys like stop and wash?
Yeah. In the 3 hours for the first minute, but like start to finish, it was 27 hours driveway to driveway for me.
I think I wrote that wrong somewhere there. Anyway,
it was nuts.
Yeah, it's a lot. Either way, back in the past when you were going, you also were going to like check boxes because people told you to be there for certain reasons, and I'm like, I don't care about their boxes. I care about the house boxes.
That's totally
this is, hey, I've done everything I can in the home as far as like what we're gonna do. We have no plans. There's no hockey. There's no gymnastics. There's no anything that's being impeded. And as long as that's the case, I'm fine. I'm happy because you come back so filled. And not that you don't leave the home in a way where I think I wrote today in the blog, it was something to the effect of your spiritual giving in the house is like contagious. we feed off of it. And it's the same as if you aren't in a great mood. You know?
That's contagious too.
You give like a look and everyone's like, there we go.
Dude, first of all, I heard Elijah yesterday. I wasn't asleep. I was like laying on the couch resting. And I heard, which sounds like sleeping, and in dad talk, I probably was asleep, but I heard Elijah in the other room talking to you. And he was like, Mom, do you want to wake Kayle up or should I? And you're like, what? Is he sleeping or what? And he's like, I just don't want him to be grumpy. And the way that like hit me, I'm like, am I the dude walking around who's just grumpy all the time? You know what I mean? And then I was like, well, I'm also like a rabid raccoon when you wake me up. I don't even know what year it is.
Right. I mean, it could be grouch. It could be, hey.
But I say that to say that you're right. I think
that's like anybody when they
oftentimes though the dude in the house sets the tone whether they mean to or not.
Yeah.
And for good or for bad.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of times where I'm grumpy, but not at anyone. Right. Like I'm just frustrated. I'm working on something that's not working, and I walk through the house and I'm like, my head's down. I'm not making eye contact with anyone. I'm just trying to get from point A to point B, and I don't want anything in the way.
Right.
And I can feel when I walk by Elijah like that. He's like,
yeah.
And like, it's not about him. I'm not even interacting with him, but there's a palpable energy change in the home, you know?
Well, that's his character.
Sure.
Too.
Oh, yeah.
He picks up on people vibes quickly, and he immediately, a lot like my mother, assumes it's him.
Right.
It wasn't me. And it's just like a character trait that it's part of who he is because he is such a servant as a human.
Right.
He wants to give and give, and so the first thought in his head is, did I cause that? Whereas Scarlett doesn't care. Hazel's oblivious.
Scarlett's like low-key like, I hope I caused that.
Right, she's like,
you deserve that.
She also gets that. She gets that from me. Did I put you in that bad mood? Well, look at that.
That's funny.
I'm kidding. I don't want to put you in a bad mood sometimes.
Yeah.
But I've been thinking a lot about it lately, and honestly, sitting there today, trying to figure out what I was going to write about this week, and I feel like I've been at least a day or two behind on everything that I do on a regular basis because we traveled. We went to NRB. It was amazing. We met so many great people, and I mean, we've got 3 or 4 podcasts lined up. We're guests on, and then we have a guest next week, a writer, and there's just so many different pieces of fellowship,
kingdom connections.
Yeah, and there's been a lot going on, so I felt behind, and at first I was kind of annoyed that I was, even though it was my own planning that caused it, right, as usual. But then I just could not stop thinking about our marriage, and I thought, well, nobody really wants to read about that because it's personal. But then I kind of felt like maybe they do. Maybe one person going through something, and I mean, really, the way I had framed it wasn't just like our marriage was what I used as the.
But you're talking about marriage on the whole.
Marriage in the whole, relationships in the whole, all pieces where we are ungrateful for like the clear God sent human in our life.
Sure.
You know, and not everybody is married, right? And I don't want them to not be able to relate to what I'm writing necessarily or what we're even talking about. But I do think that we're so quick as a society now to go, well, this is my standard for a husband. This is my standard for a wife.
Period.
This is my standard for a friendship. Yeah. And we don't have any grace. We don't have gratitude for what they are bringing to the table because we're so busy creating those check boxes. And that's kind of correlating to your MC situation where I finally stopped looking at all the check boxes. And I said, okay, well, what is it bringing to this home? And while you're away, it's tough. But at the same time, I have some peace and quiet to get writing done, and you spend some quality time with the kids because you're the fun one in the house. Yeah. So the kids want to usually hang out with you before they want to hang out with me. But you also show up filled. And so gratitude trumps all of those other emotions of the trail of stuff you left behind before you left or the whatever.
I will say, when I came back, you're like, honey, I'm so glad you're back. I cooked you one of your favorite meals. It's in the oven. I'm so glad you're here. Wow, did you know that your office desk is atrociously dirty? And I was like, you looked at it too long while I was gone.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Stop looking up.
Okay.
Just look this way. But no, I had something something that I had planned to say in all of that as you were talking.
Sorry.
But no, you're good. It kind of shifted as I listened more. I think a couple episodes ago I had said something. We were talking about putting parameters around God's plan, right? Like, which we can't do,
right,
but we try to,
yeah.
right? Like, we understand the only part of it that God's showing us, right? Like, we never see every move and how we're going to get there, all 100 steps. We see maybe an outcome or maybe a stop along the way, and then we start putting our own expectations and our own variables and things, and we start fencing in the plan
right.
to something that sounds good to us.
Right.
And I think that's exactly what people do with a prospective partner,
yeah,
or even a current partner. And they call it discernment.
Mm.
They call it lived wisdom.
Right.
Right? I've been with somebody who does X before. So because of that, Y, Z, A, B, all these things, like, I'm going to have it this way. He's going to be 6'3", 185 pounds. He's going to go to the gym 3 days a week, and it's going to be CrossFit. It's like, what are you doing, bro? Find someone who loves you as much as they love God. Pause, remix. Find someone who loves God more than they love you, and will try to get you to love God more than you love them. If you're in there, you have something to work with.
Yeah.
All the little piddly stuff, dude, people have addictions. Mm-hmm. You've been with me through several. Yeah. And these are things that God can work on. These are things you can come together about. But, like, there's very few things I think that are complete, like, non-starters sink the ships, right? And, like, violence is certainly one of them, whether it's verbal or physical. I'm not going to go down the whole list. But
verbal violence?
I meant abuse is where I was going with that. My bad. The verbal violence, we'd be broken up. You're mean.
What?
But, I mean, obviously,
thank you.
There are, like, a baseline of non-negotiables, right? But they're not what most people say that they are. Yeah. People are like, I don't know, one time he threw a baseball with his left hand. I can't do that. You know, it's just the silliest stuff. Yeah. And we block our blessings, right? And we get on our own way of what God has for us because we were too busy building a rule book that doesn't apply to it. Right. It's bananas. I will say, it's really hard for me to explain how I feel when I come back from a run. I've been to runs that weren't that great. I've been to runs that were amazing. And for anyone listening who doesn't know what a run is, it's literally just a giant gathering of bikers. And in the club I'm in, it's a little different because it's a bunch of Christians and we're fellowshipping and reading the word and doing long, sometimes overnight worship sessions. It's basically like a revival, right? But it's just a bunch of just broken dudes. And I've been to some runs that it felt a little forced. I've been to some runs that, like, just the spirit was just like crazy. This run was one of those. And I'm trying to explain to my friends who've never been to something like this why I need it. Because it's now a need. It's not like a want. Right. And I tried to explain that my cup, as far as I can tell, when people talk about, like, their cup being filled, my cup has 3 chambers in it. And they work completely independently of one another. Mm-hmm. I have the body of Christ, like the fellowship you get outside of your home, and not that we're all not members of the body of Christ in our home, but the body at large, interaction with the body at large, I need. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm built that way. I don't know if you are, but, like, if I go too long without interfacing with, like, random Christians, I feel it. I know. We're just wired different. And then I have the center of my cup is my time with the Lord. Yeah. It is very clear and very obvious to anyone around me when I have been out of the word and out of prayer for more than a couple of days. Yeah. I start to shift. My cup becomes empty, and it's the chamber that fills everything else. It's the most important part of my cup. But so I have that part of my cup, and then I have my wife and kids part of the cup that's absolutely necessary. But then I have that fellowship with the rest of the body. Right. And I don't know that they're not all of equal portion in this fake cup that doesn't actually exist. But my family life, me and you, the kids and I, can be perfect. My prayer life can be really good. My time in the Word, I can be learning and growing and fellowshipping with God and feel empty. Right. Part of me. And other brothers in the club have noticed it too. Their wives noticed it. Like Stash, his wife will legit be like, "Hi, honey, when's the next run? And you're going, right? You need some brotherhood time." Like that you can just tell. But it's hard to explain that to people until you have been to something like that. And I know you grew up doing, like, the Acquire the Fire and all those cool things. I went to at least one, like, youth camp, like how our kids go to. Yeah. I went to, like, one like that. And that's all I remember. And I was really young, like, probably like 4th or 5th grade. I don't remember all the details, but I don't remember feeling like, invigorated,
Yeah.
if that's even the right word, just like engulfed. But this weekend, I saw this club is like dudes with crazy past, like horrible addictions, traumatic lives. A lot of them come out of just backgrounds you would never even want to be around. And to watch these dudes just lay it down, their grief, the trauma, the pride, the all of it, all these different little things that they've found themselves carrying around and building over these decades. Watching, there's a dude that was there, babe, who's 6'9" and he's like a something degree black belt. Like this dude is legit. Like there's people like that just falling on their knees with snot coming out of their mouths, like just fully letting go. And it's like the antithesis of how men, at least here, I don't know about other places, are raised to be. Like I remember, I'm very emotional. I remember crying as a kid and the boys being like, "Hey dog, hey, toughen up. We don't do that. You know, cry in the shower like a man. Like bro, chill." Like we're kind of told like to tough it up, toughen up, whatever. And to watch these dudes that make me look like a newborn baby. Like they're just yoked, giant, face tatted, like 15-year class A substance addiction dudes crawling to the altar and just being like, "I'm not getting up till you take this from me." Seeing hundreds of dudes like that and being part of it and being able to pray with these people, it awakens something in me that I didn't even know existed before this club. You know what I mean? It's really cool. It's a really special thing to be part of. I actually, I'll let you talk, I promise. But the last thing I want to say, I was on the left side of the seating area. It was an old church. So there was like seating on the left, seating on the right, and then a bunch of seating in the middle. So people were going up the aisles to get up to the front. And I saw this kid. I was probably 4 or 5 rows from the front. And I peripherally saw someone walking up and they stopped. And they were like maybe just right behind my right shoulder. And they stopped and they weren't doing anything. And it was like, okay, there's worship music playing, whatever. People were kind of like walking around, laying hands on each other and stuff. And this dude, like, I didn't see him. And I think he like pulled into a row and just tried to like blend in.
Yeah.
And then by the time I looked, he wasn't there.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, whatever. I'm back to worshiping, praying, whatever. And I see this dude again come up. And this time I looked and I could see in his face that he was trying to work up the courage to go up there.
Right.
And so when we do altar call, I've never done altar calls outside of this, so I don't know what they normally look like, but we have 1 or 2 dudes who will normally be up front and offer prayer. And a lot of people will go to the altar with somebody to pray with them, like a trusted friend or whatever. We'll walk them up there and pray over them. It's kind of a free for all. It's not like one pastor up there laying hands on people like on TV, It's kind of just come up here, we'll figure it out. And that, I think, is the best part. It's not a performance, So anyway, this kid, I look and he is distraught and he's fighting something. And he turns around to go walk away from the altar and I see hands grab this dude. And they're like, "Nope." And they walked him to the front of the altar and let go. And he got on his knees and he let everything out. And I'm like, this is not an advertisement. This is not a commercial for the club.
Right.
This is a plea for people to find their people.
Right.
Find the person who will physically take you to the foot of the cross.
Right. I think that there's an honesty in those moments, and it is a lot, like you said. And I grew up in a lot of that, like Acquire the Fire and all those different things. And it really is the same type of thing, but they use like fire. It was like,
is it acquirable?
They were pretty big on the stage for some stuff. It was a lot, but it was exciting as a teenager, right? And then you have this, like, you're pumped in the spirit, you're excited, and it's easy to lose that over time. And you can have an amazing relationship with God and have an amazing family or have a horrible family, whatever it is. You go there, you get fed, you fill your cup, you get back home wherever you're at, and then it slowly just turns into monotony of a normal day to day. When you're younger, it's school. When you're older, it's work.
Oh, look at it like gas. You go get your tank filled, and as you use that gas, it goes away.
Right.
You have to
now,
replenish
granted,
it.
in the rest of our lives, we're supposed to be filling our cups through family, whatever, right? And making sure we're seeking out parts of our lives that are not necessarily the big events, because those aren't always as possible, right? But there is something to be said for just the raw honesty that is divinely inspired almost in those situations.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a group of men can go from being like rough, tough biker guys, whatever, to like crying and really just feeling what they're feeling.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you're a teenager at those events, you got all kinds of stuff going on. You don't know if you're crying about Jesus or you got like puberty happening.
Or the wind blew
right,
weird or
right,
what.
right. But as I've aged and had trauma and all kinds of things in our family and everything we've been through, the need to be in those big revival settings, it feels a little less for me, and I need it in a quieter way.
Sure.
Where I made a face obviously when you talked about needing all the people around, and my mom and I used to talk about that when I was younger, and I hated getting up to go to church. I hated it. I love church, but I wish it was at like 1. I just don't want to morning. I don't want to do. I want to sit in my pajamas with my coffee and just exist until I feel like a person, and then go to church, and then I'll probably go home and take a nap. I don't know, but
as God intended.
as God intended. Right, but I used to talk to her about how I didn't feel like the fellowship was as necessary as they made it out to be. And she kind of, when she started going to church way back in the day, she was a like, get in, get out type. She was like, she was not trying to stay in chit chat. And then over time, that changed.
Right.
And, she made friends, got to know people. And it depends on your church, obviously, and how things change. And churches evolve, people move, things happen. So that cup filling feeling really is the reason people go to church.
Sure.
And there is a misconception. Well, Christians, I don't want to go to church. I can love God from my living room and all of that. Yes, you totally can.
100%.
But there is our hockey season. We don't get to go to church as much because we're too busy going to hockey, and I can't pay as much as we're paying for hockey and pull my kid out every game, and it's pretty much every Sunday. So we go through this lull in the winter, which is already kind of a dark, cold time of year. Yeah. And then you really do feel like you need your cup filled because you haven't been getting it at church. And what you have is at home, but if we're both kind of a little empty. But for me, going to NRB in Nashville and just standing around with those ladies for an hour, that's my revival now. That's my spirit is so much quieter now.
Right.
It is not lights and fire and what. I love a good worship session, whether it's one guy with a guitar just feeling it or it's the whole band. I don't care. I have nothing against the big performances, and I have nothing against a cappella. Honestly, I don't have any. I think if you're gonna worship God, you worship as big as you want or as quietly as you want, because sometimes we have revival spirit and sometimes we have quiet cast.
Come on.
And I'm just, thank you, Lord.
That's totally a thing, right? And I think I don't this run was the best run I've been to from a fellowship standpoint, and it wasn't overnight revival service, nonstop preaching. Matter of fact, normally we do a small service on Friday and then the official service on Saturday. We didn't do a service Friday. We went out and did mission stuff and prayed with folks and ministered and everything else. Saturday, I don't remember what we did in the morning time. We had breakfast. Oh, I guess we did ceremony, recognizing brothers and stuff like that. But church service was at 8:30 p.m. So we showed up 5 o'clock Friday night. We didn't have a church service for 28 hours. We just sat together. There's people out by campfires. This place was probably 50 acres. There's cabins. The Prospect cabin was over a mile from my cabin. It was all spaced out. And everywhere you looked, there was 4 or 5 guys in a circle catching up.
Right.
And then a couple hundred yards later, 4 or 5 guys from different states, from different places, just doing life. And there was a cafeteria, but even in the cafeteria, while it's bulk seating, it wasn't just dudes for the first 5 rows. It was small pods of dudes who just hadn't seen each other in a long time, or the day one new guy who's just can I sit down with you guys? And they're dude, come on, and so it wasn't lights and fire and just constant prayer. It was the fellowship was intimate, and it was personal,
Right.
and I really liked it. And God works with that in obedience too. Like the few people that came up to me that said something specific to me connected us through trauma or addiction specifically.
Which goes to that honesty.
Right.
That was.
And one of them, it was actually kind of cool. It was kind of edifying towards what I try to do on social media. Hey man, I saw the video that you posted about your struggles with blank.
Mm-hmm.
Can we please talk about that? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
No. Away from here, privately.
Right.
And we went off and we got to talk and pray. And I was just like, we probably would have never had that moment over the phone.
Right.
There's something about looking into someone's eyes, you know? I don't know. It was really cool. And I do get my cup filled from you. We fill each other's cup all day long, right? My hands are tired from pouring, and so are yours. Like, we constantly are pouring into the other person's cup. But that's why I try to illustrate it like as if there's compartments in mine. Because I'm like, my quiet time chamber can be full, my wife and kids chamber can be full, and I'll have this itch to be plugged in.
Right.
And like, at the risk of sounding conceited, I guess, I feel like I've survived what I've survived to help somebody else survive today.
Yeah.
And when I'm sitting at home and like we're all good, and I'm like, I feel this like, you're supposed to be doing something. You're supposed to go help somebody. Not that I'm anything, but like I have scars to show you that your cut will heal.
No, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm like, I get this like itch. So when I go to a place where there's hundreds of hurting men, I'm like, yes, I'm not their doctor. I'm not going to fix them. But on the one guy that comes up to me and we start talking about something that I've survived through God,
Mm-hmm.
and I can point him the same way, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm good for like 6 months. But in
Right.
6 months, I have to go help someone. And it's not like a hero complex or whatever. Again, like my whole life is what not to do. So if you're going down this way and you want to talk about it,
You got a problem? No, I've definitely had that before.
yeah,
Whatever,
100%.
Whatever version it is. Got you.
But it fills your cup so different. And like you said, how like then you have to go back to life. In the club, we call that a run hangover.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's spiritual high Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
So when Monday comes, everyone's like, ugh. And like that week is hard.
Yeah.
Adjusting back to like not having it. You know what I mean?
And like you don't sleep all weekend. So
Hey,
I'm shaking.
I slept.
Wake up.
I slept 1 hour and 16 minutes. I slept.
Gross.
That was in 3 different sessions too. I had 2 10-minute naps.
That's not good.
I didn't bring bedding, and I didn't know you're supposed to like have pillows and blankets and sleeping bags.
As many runs as you've been to, I don't know how you're unaware of that.
Every time I have this situation, every time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, because the only other time you've had bedding is when I've gone to the runs, and I either enforce like an Airbnb because I refuse to do whatever that like summer camp thing is that they're doing as grown adults.
Dude, we end up renting out Christian summer camps because it's the only place that can fit us all.
No, thank you. No, thank you. No. But we stayed at a friend's house in Canada. Yeah, so that was a little different too.
Yeah,
and they gave us a bed, which was cool.
That was dope.
I had a thought.
Fellowship.
And it left me. No, it was about your chambers.
Oh, okay.
Your cup chambers. And, well, I agree. I do think that there's a bit of how it flows into the next chamber happening.
Yeah.
You know, when you're constantly filling up your family cup, right? I think it starts to kind of pour in to the cup for brotherhood, but in a way that you can give it out. Right?
Yeah,
and it's the same when you fill up your brotherhood cup. Yeah. It flows into this marriage and this family.
There was a man I met. I'm sorry. There was a man I met at the run, brand new guy. And I won't go into any specific details, obviously, but about who he is. But it ended up coming up that basically no matter what he does, his family doesn't look at him like the Christian leader. Yeah. He's newer to it. He tries, and they're kind of like, and like blow him off. Which was like my fear when I first started coming to faith. I'm like, I can't pray out loud in front of this woman. She's been praying for 36 years. And
yeah, praying for 36 years and also like living in the gray area, doing whatever I wanted.
I hear you. But every time something connected for me in the Bible, and I was like, oh, that. I can't tell her. She obviously does that. She learned that in kindergarten. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just had this inferiority complex spiritually. And I've overcome that. I think we're very evenly yoked these days, but
Yeah.
hearing somebody have that exact fear, dude, by the time I even stood up to go over to him, there was 4 brothers talking about exactly how to pray with his wife in a way that's not scary, in a way that just invites God into their home, praying with his kids in a way that helps his kids know the Lord on their own. And just like, these are like, dudes, if you saw in the alley, you'd be like, I don't know if I should go this way or maybe I should turn around.
Right.
And they're like, bro, grab your wife and pray like this. If nothing else, pray like this. God, enter our marriage. Show me who you want me to be. Show her who you want her to be. And show us how we can be one before you. That's it. You don't need fancy words, God. Do you hear me? And I'm like, yeah, cast him up. Tell him how to do it. It's so cool. And you're right. Like being in the family and getting it right. And not all the time, but getting it right qualifies me a little bit to speak into that. Right. I have definitely presented myself in ways and circumstances over life through addiction and whatever other excuse I want to use of not the good example. Right. From time to time, at times, right? I've now learned how to be a good example. I know both. Right. So if you're saying your kids aren't looking at you the way that you hope they would or the way that God would hope they would in your leadership, don't go, all right, iron fist time. 100% invite God into it. And I'll tell you that because I lived it and it works for me. So seeing all the other Christian dudes were like, yes, that. And it was their advice was bring God into everything.
Right. But even if you're getting it wrong, which we all do sometimes. Sure. Right. So sure. Okay. Getting it right, showing up, cup is filled. But I honestly sometimes feel like my cup is more filled. And I feel like we're saying the filled cup a lot and overdoing it. But like I feel more full. I don't even have another word. There's got to be something
better. Christianese is limiting.
Right. I'm trying to say it in a way.
My cauldron is reaching maximum capacity.
I don't know how to verbalize it now. Yeah. Anyway, what I guess my point is that when I'm getting it wrong. Yeah. But the rectification of the getting it wrong in this household is right. The communication is right after. If I snap on the kids and you're like, hey, babe, probably could have said that a different way. And I'm like, oh, you're right. My bad. Or whatever. Or I get annoyed with you in the kale trail that gets left around the house. Whatever.
I read something today. It says it doesn't annoy you. So no take that.
Oh, no. I said it did annoy me, but then I learned to be grateful for it. Because it probably is because you were doing something to serve this household.
I just read not mad and just went with that.
You just went with that. Okay. No, I'm good. I'm glad that we got some of this out. Anyway, sometimes I think that getting it wrong is what's most fulfilling in the long run. Not saying to go purposely get stuff wrong.
I was about to say that's a careful.
I think it's like owning.
Yeah.
And not hiding it and saying I'm the perfect mother and I'm the perfect wife. And my husband came home at 1 a.m. from his run and I made him the steak of his life. None of that is what my point really was. Yeah. It was really, I kind of went into this, even though I was like, yeah, honey, have fun. Inside of my head, I was like, I asked for one thing, and it was that my first floor bathroom was actively working. And this dude is going to go ahead and leave anyway, even though he tried up until the very minute that he left. He's like, he wasn't trying. But I had those thoughts reeling, and I was getting it wrong. I was actively getting it wrong, but I was getting it right by keeping my mouth shut for the most part. I probably threw a couple like, yeah, no, we'll handle the bathroom later, right, babe? type of, I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was in there. But it wasn't the, no, you're not going. And then you'd be like, tell me not to, or whatever. Yeah. None of that has to happen. Right. There is no ultimatums and I'll be mad ifs. And all of what feels so childish now, but really existed in our marriage, in my last marriage, these thoughts that we're going to control another person in any way, shape, or form based on how we feel is, well, ridiculous anyway. But the taking how the other person feels into consideration and going, okay, this little thing annoyed me, but where's he at in this? The kale trail that's left around the house, it comes from a place of doing 300 different projects around the house and trying to keep track of them all.
Yeah.
The working on the bathroom until you're almost late to leave to the thing that you've been looking forward to going to. All of those play in to getting it wrong at first and then correcting myself and then getting it right and being able to then speak about it, write about it. Where like I'm not going to any big events and talking about it most likely, but we're talking about it here, and somebody will hear it, even if it's only one person who maybe wants to go nag their husband tomorrow and then decides not to.
It's so multifaceted too, right? Because it's love.
Yeah.
Right. Love is patient. Love is kind. Not
right.
blah blah
Certainly,
blah. The Bible saying there's more to
right.
it.
It's the fruits of the spirit for sure.
But there's also a humility in being able to say you're wrong. Yeah. And you and I both struggled with that, especially when we first got together. We're both hard-headed type people, and I'll just look at you in the face, dead wrong, and not say it, and you'll be like, "You gonna say something? You're just looking at me, knowing you're wrong." You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a place that you can get to in love, and it takes maybe doing it the wrong way too many times. I don't know what it takes, but we had to get to a point where we don't operate in pride ever. And we did. That's right. The degrees, the business accolades, the achievements, the accomplishments drove us, and they were our identity to a fault. Whether it was the paycheck or the stock options or whatever, like that was the thing that was getting me out of bed. So if you said something that like crossed that, you offended me.
We didn't talk one night years ago because one of us made a comment about how much the other person made. Yeah. And like we were swimming in the pool in Virginia. Yeah. And somebody said something about how much one person made, and the other person pretty much said, I make more than that, whatever. And it was like, we both got so mad.
Because our identity was our salary.
Because our identity was in pride. Right. And we were idolizing the who was better, who was more accomplished.
Instead of just being like, we make X, right? Then, it's about the individual contribution.
Now I'm at a point where I'm like, who cares if we don't make anything? Yeah. I'm at a point where I'm like, thank God I have you. Thank God we have a relationship where I can go, hey, I made nothing this week because X, Y, and Z happened. What are you thinking we can do?
I have an idea. I'll call Dad.
Right? Right.
And not that it's an ATM, but I'm like, help me, guide me, show me what to do.
Well, my brain's not working. Help me use it.
Yeah. But there's something beautiful in getting to that place. Yeah. And that's a place that I find hard to coach someone towards. Yeah. Because the amount of death to self that has to happen with someone you can't control and with someone you can. Yeah. Right? I can't make you humble. I can't make your pride and ego go away. Right. You have to do the work with the Lord. And so like if I'm telling a couple like, hey man, this is how you should do that, I can tell you how to clean up your side of the street. Right. But like the place that you have to get to together, when your identity shifts to being about who you are in your accomplishments to who you are in Christ with your spouse, everything changes. But it's not saying it. It's living like it. Right. Right? It's owning up to your mistakes, owning up to the times where you've crossed the line. When you went back to something you said you wouldn't go back to. Mm-hmm. It's going to your wife second. Right? You go to God, you go to your wife. Yeah. Talk to a fellow this weekend. He backslid into an old online addiction. Right. And all the details don't really matter, but I ended up feeling drawn to talk to him in the worship service. I just put my hand on his back. Right. And he looked at me crazy and came up and found me and he was like, why did you come up and put your hand on my back? So we're just curious. I was like, I don't know, man. You just stuck out to me. I just wanted you to know I was there. And he teared up and he was like, dude, I just backslid today. I've been so good for so long and I backslid and we talked through it. And I was like, do me a favor. Don't ruin your wife's whole weekend, but when you get home, talk to her about it. Yeah. That's not something that you should keep from her. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like get home, tell her about all the great times you had here and all the things, all the parts of your cup that are now full that you can't wait to give to your family. But then when it's quiet and you're done talking about it, you need to tell her. Yeah. And he actually said, I tell my wife everything, so I plan to, which was relieving. But it's that. It's I'm not too proud to tell you I fell. Right. And going back to the armor bearer thing, how will you ever know how to pray for me if you don't know my weaknesses? Right. If I try to act like this superhero husband to you and I just have this persona like I'm invincible, you will never know how to cover me in prayer. You'll never know when I'm in a situation where I'm feeling like I could mess up or spiral out or be vulnerable or whatever if I don't communicate with you. Yeah. And it goes both ways. But there's a there's a lack of or not humility. There's a lack of pride. There's a humility in being able to say, "Hey, babe, when I'm in this situation, I have this temptation.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, babe, when I'm around these kind of people, I feel like committing this sin."
Right.
And now you know how to walk through this life with me in a way, not like that I'm like sheltered, but like you have my back. You know what I mean? How do you know what to have my back from if I'm not talking to you? And I think that's the problem with a lot of relationships today is men try to act tougher than they are, and women try to act like they can handle everything. And so like no one knows how to have the other person's back. You know what I mean?
I mean,
I don't know. But even like money, bro. Like you said in the beginning, we looked at money the way we looked at money. Like now, I laugh when we talk about money.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, I don't know, my paycheck's not going to be big this week. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I get paid in 3.5 weeks, but watch it totally work out. I will not lose a minute of sleep over it because every single time to the penny, it works out. We don't live in abundance. I mean, we live in more abundantly than other people live, but we're not like, let's go buy a $30,000 snowmobile type money. We're like, hey, let's wait. Let's get sandwich meat this week. And yeah, dude.
I didn't know that.
That's why we don't have one. You probably get a used one for cheap.
Yeah,
but they're like cars, dude. You go to like a snowmobile dealership, you're paying like 20-30 grand.
You know, I've been on a lot.
Someone
of
fact check this. I've never been to a snowmobile dealership, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, now I want to go.
They're for real. Like you go on Marketplace and get like a junky one.
Right, I feel like that's.
But you want to go get like one with like a warranty? Better sell your kidney. Anyway. Yeah. I don't know. When you get to a point where you're just like, God didn't say he was going to work some things out for good.
Mm-hmm.
But he promised us that all things will work out for good. And that does not mean that all things will be good.
Right.
That means even in our momentary suffering is for the glory to come.
Which goes right back to me saying it's the wrong moments that I'm almost happier to have.
Stop celebrating the wrong moments.
I'm just saying. They have turned out well for us.
Most of them.
I think all of them. Even in loss, even in the worst. I was telling Elijah the other day about, he was frustrated about something that like really is trivial, but for a 14-year-old, it's a lot, right? And I said, Lige, there's going to be so many moments like that in your life. And I can already see 3 lessons out of that situation from here that you could be grateful for. And I think it was school based, and I think it was about school. And I said, even the loss of my mom, which was hard on me, and this whole family saw, it took me out. And to this day now, I'm not grateful that she's gone, but I'm grateful that I can see the goodness in her loss. In how I was able
the impact.
Or I changed everything about my life, and it took time. It took the getting through the grieving process and really looking back. And even in that, though, I started to really start to look at my own faults finally, and that was kind of the unveiling moment for me. So, I wouldn't ever want to kill off my mother. I miss her dearly every single day, and it's still hard. There's days where it feels like it happened yesterday, but I can see so much good in what has happened since her passing, and I think that she would be ecstatic to know that her loss of life has had such a positive impact on me, on you, on this family, on everyone. And I think that there isn't a single thing on this planet that happens that's horrible that can't be used for good, because God tells us he's going to use it for good. 100%. We might not always see the ripple effect. Sometimes things just suck. But we don't realize that the guy up the road is positively impacted by the thing that sucks for us. Yeah. But that is what it is.
I was talking to TikTok Ty, the other day. But I wasn't talking to him. He was on a live stream, and his mother came up, and she passed.
Yeah.
A while back. I don't remember exactly when, 15, 20 years, something like that. Yeah. And I don't know if it was like an anniversary or something, but he was getting emotional.
Yeah.
And he was saying how he wished his mom was able to see the version of him that he became. Because I don't know his whole story, but he was like me. He was out there being an idiot. And all his mom wanted was for him to not be an idiot, and he was still an idiot. And so he was kind of reflecting on it and expressing gratitude for how he was raised to be able to become a better version of
Right.
himself. And in the emotion, I was saying some stuff I felt led to say in the chat. And one of the things I said to him was like, Ty, if your mother had to choose, if God showed up and said, hey, you can live for 50 more years, but he stays the same,
Mm-hmm.
or you die today and he
Yeah.
becomes everything you prayed for,
Yeah.
which one would she choose?
Right.
You know, and it's like, it changes perspective.
Yeah, it does.
And it's not a transaction. Like your mother didn't die so that you could grow. His
Right.
mother didn't die so that he could grow. But at the end of the day, through death, it's what put him in church.
Right.
It's what made you have to come to terms with some things.
Yeah.
Like whether they are in that cloud of witnesses and watching what happens or not, when they see you again, they'll know
Right.
everything
You
that you
made
became.
it.
Right. They'll be like, it was worth it.
Yeah.
You're here. That's all I wanted. You're here. Yeah, beautiful thought.
No, it really is, and it's funny because all the things that I am capable of reiterating now regularly as part of who I am were things that she would constantly say to me, and I wasn't hearing her. I wasn't, even the little stuff, the college degrees, all of it. And she, Cass, I always thought you were smart. It's your relationship with God that I'm concerned about. Yeah. All of that.
And you're like,
but it goes back to that idolatry of money and status and accomplishments and who I am as a person, right? And I didn't look at who I was as a person as a spiritual game. Right. I looked at it like physical earth. What's my status? Yeah. What do they call me?
What am I worth?
What am I worth? Yeah. Right. And it took me losing her really to stop looking at all of that. And when I was able to stop looking at all of that, I started looking a lot at myself, which made me a better wife. Because then I was able to look at the things that I wanted to poke at with you and then go, wait a minute. Take a look at yourself first, Cass. Is this worth being upset about?
That's biblical, isn't it?
A little bit. But I mean, she used to tell me all the time, choose your battles, Cass. But it really isn't just choosing your battles. It's operating in grace and being able to do so in such a way that you can see the positive in any of the negative. And as example,
and even if you can't see it, trusting that there will be positive in the situation.
Right. Yeah. And it's little small things in marital issues that are not huge, not violent, not talking down to others, whatever. Yeah. In the small things, in the laundry next to the hamper type of situations in a marriage, those are all the little pieces where you have a moment as a spouse to bite somebody's head off. And if you can stop it and go, what am I going to accomplish with that? It's not simply holding your tongue. It's obeying God. It is being obedient. It is being obedient in a marriage and having a respect for the union that we have and going, okay, well, we're a team. So on this team, I could just pick up the dropped laundry and put it where it goes and keep moving. I don't think that at any point in your day, you're purposely just like chucking it and going, she's got to pick it up.
There's grace in so much of this. Grace is all of that, right? Everything you're saying. It reminds me of like when I get real worked up in traffic, which like we're still working on that. But when I'm in a good headspace, I try to picture what the other person is going through.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to do. But I picture like a kid in the back seat hurt and they're just trying to get to the hospital. So maybe they weren't paying attention to the road. Yeah. Or they're late for work and their boss said if they're late one more time, they're going to be fired and then they're not going to be able to pay for daycare anymore. Mm-hmm. Like you don't know what that person's going through to be mad they're going 4 under or whatever, right? And if we lived our whole lives like that, the world would be a different place. Easier said than done. Mm-hmm. But when you were talking about the laundry hamper thing, I like pictured this like fake scenario, which is weird, of like a husband coming in from like an overnight shift in the dark, trying not to wake his wife up and trying to hit the hamper without waking her up and missing.
Right.
And like, that's the perspective. You're right. I don't walk around the house balling up my shirt and chucking it going, ha! someone else will pick that up.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's not that I'm a coal miner either, coming home off a weird shift in the dark, but I'm saying like there's perspective in all these things, and some of it is just lazy. And you address that well sometimes. When I came home, you didn't go, "Hey, so check this out. If you don't clean your desk off, I'm gonna burn the house down." You know, like you weren't dramatic. You're just like, "Hey, I think that's a little out of control." And I was like, "You're right," and I put it on my do it today list.
Right.
And then I don't remember what happened today, but other stuff happened today.
Right.
But now my tomorrow list is longer.
That's really how it happens.
Yeah.
It's the tomorrow list.
Yeah, the spring list.
Yeah. Yeah.
The summer list.
Yeah.
The fall.
But we already have a spring summer list. It's pretty long. It's got outside stuff.
No, but for real, like you now have a way of communicating that doesn't make me defensive.
Yeah.
Also, because there's a real easy way of pointing out something someone else is doing that in your first couple words puts them on their heels, gets them ready to like defend themselves, and now you're not even having a conversation.
Right, and it's not even about no, I didn't, or yes, I did. It's don't talk to me that way.
Right.
Excuse me.
Right.
And
grace.
Right. If everyone just has grace, then you don't actually have to have any of that. Don't talk to me that way. Now, I'm not saying that any one person, as the leader of the home, I don't think that you earn more respect than I do in the house.
100%. That's not how it works.
We're a team. Yeah. And
it's not a cord of two strands and a baby floss thing.
Right.
Like they're equal size.
Right.
Like in the mix.
But your influence as a man spiritually is how you lead. And your servanthood towards the family and giving of not just fixing things or whatever, but like of your time and love and all of the things, right? And I think that that's where for so long I specifically missed the mark, but I think society as a whole, we're so big on the you deserve this and your worth, and if for a minute we all just stop all of that and go, how can I help my partner today? How can I help my teammate today? Will this lift him up or will this tear him down? Is there a better way to say this? Was there a reason? And you're talking about coal miners, whatever, coming in the dark coming in the house in the dark. Gotta put an E on this one for the podcast.
Coal miners don't know another way. It's always dark.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
But back when you were I never said I was right in the head. When you were hunting a lot.
Yeah.
And providing sustenance for our family. Yeah. But you would try to sneak in and out of the room in the dark to get in the woods before the sun came up and all of that. And
camo face paint all over the bathroom.
Crap everywhere. And I'm like, ah. And when you first started hunting, granted it was like your excuse to go drink in a tree stand back then, so like I kind of knew. But now, in your sober hunting, I know that it comes from a place of I'm not trying to wake her up because I'm doing this so late or early in the morning. And with that, even if there was a way to nicely drop a piece of laundry somewhere, whatever, and get it in the right basket, you're trying to feed the family. That's not to say we can't go to the grocery store and get food. That's not, but having backup deer meat has been really helpful in a lot of situations when we were out of oil and electricity was about to get turned off. There's been so many moments in this home where that backup deer meat was helpful.
Oh, that turkey meat was good too.
And if someone said, "Hey, Cass, would you like some extra venison and turkey meat? The only price you have to pay is some laundry on the floor," I probably would say, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's being able to take a vantage point that's a wider scope and see all of the situations at a bigger picture and just stop before we open our mouths.
And even somewhere in the middle. Like sometimes when like we're staying up late watching TV and I know sunrise coming. Yeah. I'll be like, hey, that's a very bad news, but my alarm's going off in 3 hours and 47 minutes. And you're like, I present an alternative. I say, hey, as much as we don't like it, I'll go sleep in the spare room. And you said you do that, and you say no every time, but I do it not because I want to. I would. If you were like, I really do need 4 hours of sleep. I don't want it. I need more than 4 hours of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that alarm. I would.
Yeah.
But I say it to remind you that that's the other option.
Right.
And like, I would rather wake up to you tired than wake up alone, well rested any day of the week.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's all perspective.
Yeah. I think that there is a maturity, of course, that happens over time. I'm 40 years old now. This is not the same as the 29-year-old me that met you, that clearly thought she had something to prove to the world. And you spend your youth, and I think that's actually part of the problem. We beat this into our teenagers' heads that what are you going to do? What are you going to major in college? What are you going to do with your life? What are you going to do? Right. And Elijah and I were actually just talking about that tonight, about how he thinks it's funny that like all of the guy friends he has seem to be more worried about picking up chicks than they care about like any other thing in life. And I said, well, be careful. I appreciate your motivation for sure. In school and hockey and whatever you think it is you're going to do. Right now it's like nutritionist stuff down the road. It could change 100 times, right? But the world is constantly in that. What are you going to be? And I said, well, back up. I said, what are you going to be as a person? Right? Are you going to be a good husband
when you
and
go
father?
to bed at night, who are you?
Who are you?
Yeah.
Right. And I said, who you are isn't lawyer, doctor, nutritionist, hockey player, whatever. And I know that's what we do now as society. We identify, hi, I'm a writer. Hi, I'm a podcaster. No, hi, I am a follower of Jesus, and I am a wife and a mother. That's what I am first. I am a disciple. And I forget that myself.
Yeah.
On a daily basis. I get snippy with the kids because, oh no, I have to do invoicing or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we lose sight of what's important. And we're starting with youth now and saying, hey, what are you going to do with your future? And like, I don't want him to be a loser in my basement for the rest of his life either. I'd like him to like grow up and move out and do his thing.
Yeah, follow my footsteps. Be a loser in your own house.
But I told him, I said, I don't want the thought of girls to be not at all.
Yeah.
And it's certainly, we can't go to a restaurant with a cute waitress without him going on for 2 days.
He's been talking about the waitress from the one spot by hockey.
Yeah.
For like 6 months. He saw her for like 15 seconds.
She was the hostess. But
whatever.
Yeah.
They didn't even talk to her.
I brought that up too. I said, well, don't pretend like you're not also. But I said, you're a decade away from being a dad potentially.
It's terrifying.
There's so many things that I don't want you to push to the wayside for the sake of who you are in college and a career.
Yeah.
I said, because Elijah,
figuring it all out first.
The thing that I value most in this world, outside of my relationship with God, is my family and primarily my marriage. I said, because that is how I'm able to be a good mother. Primarily. But I said, I don't want you to put that on the back burner. Yeah. I don't want you out hunting either for it. I think that there's a necessary allowing of God's hand in your life that requires a happy medium.
Yeah.
I think, and I get it. Teenagers are like puberty brain and they're on the hunt all the time. But I don't want him to not want to be alone, and settle for whatever. Sure. And it's not right because this is my third marriage, and it took quite a long time for me to figure out what I should have been doing in my life. And had I been the person back then who had grace and wasn't nagging about laundry on the floor, and certainly I wasn't the only person in the marriage that was miserable, but I had things that I should have changed about myself. And who's to say where we would be today had I not?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so I think all of that's important to tell kids too, not little kids. Obviously, I'm like, once they're teenagers, talking about what they're going to be. Really, what are you?
Rooted in who you really are.
Right. Who are you going to actually be? Because in this home, we are teammates. In this house, we are family. We do things together. And as a husband and wife, there isn't this overhanging, I did something wrong, you did something wrong, you left the laundry, I left the dishes, whatever it is. It's a gratefulness and a gratitude.
Well, I think one thing in that we help out with a lot is when you see I'm overwhelmed and falling short in one area, you'll just step into it. And I do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, like every time I do the dishes, you act like I invented like quantum mechanics. But like I'll see that you're overloaded, you're overwhelmed, you have 7 things going on, and I look over and I'm like, can you imagine having to do all that and come out to a dirty kitchen?
Yeah.
I don't want her to have to do that. It's not it used to be like, haha, look at me. I'll be the husband that does the dishes. Now it's like, I don't want her to have to do anything else today. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's different when you live in serving. Lack of identity. Even non-believers smell it. Everyone smells it. When your identity is not rooted in something real. Yeah. It's evident to everyone you encounter. My practice wife, she, in our breakup, the only true statement she's ever said in her entire life.
Oh my gosh.
Was
not nice. What if she listens to this?
Good. Oh. Get some Jesus.
Oh my.
I'm here for you.
I'm sure you said something true other than one thing.
She said, do the next girl a favor and figure out who you are before you get in another relationship. And I was so offended because like in the end of any marriage, you think the other person's the only problem, right? And like taking accountability for anything is difficult in the moment. Yeah. And so I'm looking at her like, oh, what? Figure out who I am. You know, you're clearly the issue here. And she'd known me since I was a little kid. You know, we lived a couple houses apart and starting in like 4th grade or 3rd grade or something. Like she watched me grow up. She walked me in like a 20-second overview through every version of who I was in my life and how it was directly tied to whatever girl I was with. I'm talking like complete different people. I had no identity. I became a chameleon who I was dating. Right, I dated a preppy girl, so I was all like wearing Hollister and like going to like Abercrombie and stuff. I dated a girl who like liked this other stuff. I'd completely outfit changed, carried myself different, carried my hair different. And this girl had known me my whole life, and she called that out. She's like, before you even do this again, figure out who you are, and then come into a relationship sure of that. And I was so offended. And we have been broken up since 2010 or 11, and it's still ringing in my ears. Every time I get a little bit more sure of who I am, I'm like, I think that's what she meant.
I don't think she's wrong.
No, 100%. No, it stung, bro, because it was true. Yeah. I was like, ouch. Yeah. But like you were saying, who are you? When you go to bed, who are you? Because every single person you encounter, they don't go, oh, I remember that dude's haircut. Oh, I remember that dude's shoes. I remember who that guy was. I remember who that lady was. I remember how she made me feel because of her or his conviction. Right. Right. And in what's important to them. And it takes a long time to figure out who you are.
Right. Well, because every teeny bopper high school movie, right? And when you're in high school, granted, I went to a really small high school, so we weren't split up the same way. But like, the jocks and the cheerleaders and the potheads,
coal miners,
the high school coal miners. Sure, you had them. It's too late for this. But that identity. Yeah. Grouping, it happens young with the groupthink, right? That ability to kind of have that like exchange between people.
Tribalistic.
Oh, we think the same. Let's all do this thing. And even in Christianity, we tend to do it. You got all your bikers together and you all think relatively the same, but you're giving it to God, whereas you're not telling each other exactly what the other person
We all like throwing a football, so
right, you have to wear this.
We're wearing pink pants tomorrow.
Right. And there is something that happens as you age where if you don't come in to your own true self of as a believer or even as a non-believer, just like knowing what your values are, and you still live in this realm of I am somebody who I'm goth, I am whatever, this like you have to identify as a name of something, and none of it's real.
Right.
It's all just dress up.
Yeah.
And it's so silly.
Mm-hmm.
And teenagers do it because they can't figure themselves out. But if we're still 40 years old saying, I only like guys a certain hair color and I dress this way and I identify as these type of people. No, you don't. None of that is real. You're a human being with thoughts and feelings.
If you can take a bath and come out of the bathtub and not look like the thing that you say your identity is.
There you go. What's your identity when you're naked in the bathtub?
I take that back. I like that because I was about to say I don't look like your stereotypical Christian, so I guess your outward appearance is whatever.
The
My
point
was once the makeup washes off and the wig hits the ground, who are you?
Right. The facade you put on to tell the world who you are is about as significant as the pictures you post on Facebook.
Preach.
It is whatever you want people to see about you. Doesn't make it real.
Come on.
And obviously, you can take a picture. I can take a picture of the kids and put it on the internet. It doesn't mean that 10 minutes before that picture, I wasn't like, you do the dishes and you blah, 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 blah.
That was so hard for me when I moved in with you, not to completely start a new topic. I had never been in a home with multiple kids like that.
Mm-hmm.
The level of what you just said actually happening is consistent.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to church. Everyone get your stuff on. Come here. Picture. Smile.
Smile for the picture.
All right. Oh, we got to go. We're late. I'm like, what is this? It's so terrifying. But now I completely understand.
Yeah, no, it's the only way to wrangle them. You just got to... Yeah.
I think this was good. I think we're good to wrap unless you have something else on.
Yeah, no, I think what theme was gratitude here, right?
Gratitude, fellowship,
honesty.
In
brotherhood, sisterhood, in fellowshipping with others, and in relationships and marriage. And I think it's multifaceted and it all affects one another. And it's an important reminder because, I mean, we forget. It
it's
happens.
so easy.
We
When
get caught up
you
in
do the same thing every day, it's easy to drift. That's why we have to intentionally do things to come back. And I don't mean go drop 10K on a vacation or a cruise. I mean, sit down, turn the TV off, and have a conversation with your spouse.
Right.
That's all you got to do.
Right.
Stop scrolling for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
How was your day?
That's
listen.
it.
Slow to speak, quick to listen.
Yeah.
All right. This was fun. You want me to
pray us out?
Oh, nice sweaty hair from the hat.
Keep your hat on.
Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this time. Thank you for the ability to share any of what you've allowed us to go through, Father, with anyone who's willing to listen. We praise you for this technology, for the ability to have the conduit to get these words out to folks. Father, I thank you for my wife. I thank you for all the good days, but I also thank you for every trial. I thank you for every lesson that we've learned along the way. I thank you for our children. Thank you for the fact that we're sitting in a home that's warm in this winter time. Father, I thank you in advance for the years to come that I have with this family, and I just pray that I'm able to serve them in a way that makes you proud. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I'm podcast.